The Prophet ﷺ said, "Ad-dunya sijnul mu'min." It's the prison of the believer. What do you do in prison? A lot of people, there was a man who was in prison in Alcatraz, and every night he had this little, there was a grate for where the air came in. So he took off the grate and he began to make a tunnel. Every single night he would stay up the whole night and he would dig because he wanted to escape Alcatraz. He was a criminal, but every night he did that night work. He's the only person known to have escaped. He brought 2 people with him. But that is what a prisoner who wants to get out of his prison does. He does night work because he can't do it in the daytime. So the mu'min, he wants to get out of this prison, he does night work. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Help me with night work to get you out of the prison," because this is a low security prison. The next one is maximum security. It's much worse than this one. This is the low security prison. So we should recognize that it's a great blessing to be in a low security prison. We even get spousal visitations. Some prisons, they do that. They give them spousal visitation. It's a blessing. But know that this is just a big cell. When I used to be an imam in the prisons, I used to tell them, the only difference between you and the people outside is you know you're in prison. And your cell's much smaller than the cell outside. But this is a cell for the believer. And that's why the believer follows the injunctions of the warden. Because when you don't, your sentence will be longer. You're not going to get off for good behavior. When the parole board comes up, you won't have any excuse. They'll say, well, you did this and you did that. And you got in those fights and you were stealing other prisoners' goods and you even murdered a prisoner here. They're not going to give you parole. So the dunya is a sijn. So the Prophet ﷺ said, الأنبياء ثم الأمثل فالأمثل يبتلى الناس على قدر دينهم. People will be given tribulation in accordance with their deen. It's commensurate with their deen. The greater your deen, the more tribulation you have. فَمَنْ ثَخُنَ دِينُهُ اشْتَدَّ بَلَاؤُهُ. So the one who has a strong deen, a firm deen, he has great difficulty. وَمَنْ ضَعُفَ دِينُهُ ضَعُفَ بَلَاؤُهُ. And the one who has a weak deen, his tribulation is weaker. وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَيُصِيبُهُ الْبَلَاءُ حَتَّى يَمْشِيَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ وَمَا عَلَيْهِ خَطِيئَةٌ. And a man will continue to get affliction until he's walking on the earth like an angel. He's walking on the earth without sin. There's people, that's their condition. And you don't know if you meet a person like that. They're walking on the earth. They've had so much tribulation in their life, and they've been patient and content with what Allah gave them. And so they don't have any sin because it's all been removed. And some of the Salihin, and you see this in the Ahlul Bayt, at the end of their lives, they get grave tribulation. They have extended illnesses because they're going to leave the world without any tribulations. They're going to leave the world in a state of purity. There are many verses that tell us this. مَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ حَسَنَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. Whatever afflicts you from hasana is from Allah. وَمَا أَصَابَكَ مِنْ سَيِّئَةٍ فَمِنْ نَفْسِكَ. And whatever afflicts you from any sayyah, from any difficulties, is from your own self. وَأَرْسَلْنَاكَ لِلنَّاسِ رَسُولًا وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا. And we sent you as a messenger to convey these messages to people so they would know. And all the messengers bring this message. This was the message. Even the Buddha, his teaching, the very first thing he taught his people, the world is suffering. You're going to have difficulty. That's the nature of it. And he said the cause was attachment. Because if you're detached, you're not going to suffer. If you're detached from your illness, if you just see this as, okay, this is part of the world. This is what Allah intended in the creation.